Greetings, my friends, and thank you for tuning in to the Hometown Moguls podcast. My name is Ryan Yoder, and here I will be sharing inspiring small business stories from your own community. Please take a second to like, subscribe, follow, share, give a thumbs up. Anything that you can do to help support the podcast would be greatly appreciated. Now, please sit back and enjoy the show. So we're recording, so if you're good to go ahead and start, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you got going on.
All right. My name's Chris Vanhorn. I'm the owner of Hometown Doors, LLC in Smyrna, Delaware. Specialize in garage door maintenance, repairs, installations, anything residential, commercial, industrial, agricultural at this point.
All right. And how long have you owned Hometown Doors? How long has it been actually operational on its own?
Hometown Doors has actually just been operational on its own for about a year. It's just something that I decided to go ahead out and do. I've been doing garage doors pretty much almost 18 years now. Worked for a couple of different companies, but obviously most of everybody's American dream is to own your own business, work for yourself.
Sure. So this was something that was on your mind, a couple years down the line, and were you just waiting for the perfect opportunity, or what was kind of like that launching point where you decided like now's the time to go for it?
It's just kind of lead up. I've always done doors and operators, stuff like that, repairs for friends, family. Again, I've done this for so long at this point. My name has been out there, even through the multiple businesses that I've worked for. The business name is out there that you work for, but it's your own person that's out there doing the jobs for people, and they're the ones that pick up on everything, for the person that's doing it all. So it just, honestly, it's been a combination of things. I've been wanting to do it. My wife kind of pushed me into getting it going because she seen that we were, it was always real good for, like a side hustle, just a little something extra here and there, but to be able to make it something that more or less we can turn into a really good business, make it a family thing, which is something that I've always dreamed about. So it's actually blossomed pretty quickly in the last year. So that's always real good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, growth is always a positive thing, especially when you're first starting. Now, the actual technical skills and knowledge of, working on the doors and the systems and everything. I mean, what is your background leading into that? Have you always been on like a mechanical side of education, or what was your experience going into, say, starting with garage doors? How'd you get started?
I've always been real mechanical growing up. My father, my grandfather, uncles have always really taught me a lot about, working on things, getting dirty, fixing stuff yourself. That's kind of what I was taught. So it's all hands-on pretty much doing in the industry that we're in, garage doors. You kind of learn on the fly and then learn stuff as you go. I actually had the opportunity to go out to Vegas. I think it was probably about 4 years ago. And I actually am one of very few in the state of Delaware that's IDEA certified as a residential and a commercial tech in the state of Delaware.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there like sort of licensing or something official, that other people have? So that is pretty rare that people actually take that step to get that certification.
Yeah. It's weird because not a lot of people stateside have the accreditation. Actually, when we went to Vegas to get certified, this is a pretty big industry. It's all over the United States, but you never really realize how many people are actually in it. And it's weird to see how many people actually aren't accredited with something like this as many people that were there when we went. But again, I guess it all depends on the owner of the company, what they're willing to send, their guys out to do. They're obviously probably not going to send somebody with a year or two's worth of service because it may not be beneficial to them. But when I went, I had already had 13, 14 years in. And it was a lot of fun. It's a real big thing to have the credentials for that. You have to keep them up about every 4 to 5 years. You have to do what they want is at least 8 to 10 hours of continued education, which doesn't seem like a lot in 4 to 5 years. But they just want to know that you're still out there, still learning, whether it's the business side, whether it's the mechanical side. They still just want to know that you're continuing your education.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, just from doing minor repairs of, our own door of, things that just not working correctly. I wouldn't go too far into the weeds of my own system, but I imagine when you start talking about, commercial fit outs and agricultural, I mean, you're talking about pretty heavy doors and pretty sophisticated systems to
Yeah.
operate. I mean, I imagine it gets pretty dangerous if you don't have the right person in there installing it.
Yeah, it can. You could probably guess. Anybody can just climb on YouTube and watch the video and think that they can do it. And I can't tell you how many phone calls that we've gotten here where somebody's called and said, "Hey, listen, unfortunately, I just came back from the hospital and my hands are all bandaged up because I wanted to try to save a little bit of money, and now I haven't." I mean, it's pretty easy to and tear a door out, stack a door in. The biggest thing is the springs. Everything we deal with has sharp edges, blunt objects. You drop heavy equipment on yourself. I mean, you can get hurt severely bad if you don't know what you're doing.
Sure. Yeah. And how many people does it usually take? I mean, what's your team look like when you go to, say, do a whole install? Do you have a growing workforce that works for you at the moment?
Right now it is just me. I have a couple of guys that I do rely on for some extra help here and there. Like I said, I've done this for so long now. To do anything residential is pretty much a one-man show, unless it's 3-4 doors at a shot. Then it would just be tiring to try to do 4 tear outs, 4 installs, everything on one person. So I do have 1 or 2 people that I rely on to give me a hand for those things. Right now, we're still small, with only being in business for a year. So however, it has blossomed pretty well. I'm actually looking into potentially just buying another truck and having someone on the road with me or by themselves. You have to start somewhere. I just kind of put a commercial truck box on my truck and bought a trailer to be able to haul what I need to. And it's taken off pretty good. So I'd like to move forward and getting another vehicle and maybe potentially bringing on maybe just a helper for right now, since I do have 2 other people to rely on if needed. That way I can train someone, because it's in our industry, it's a bad habit to hire someone on who comes from another door company because they've already learned things that maybe you don't like. So it's always nice to be able to it's always nice to be able to train somebody on how I do it, because I'm pretty particular on things have to be straight, level. I don't like wires hanging all over the place when we run wires. It's just it's got my name attached to it. I want it to look nice.
Sure. Yeah. Start training them with a fresh slate instead of already having bad habits installed. And
Absolutely.
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, that was kind of one of the things I was curious about, you being so fresh into the game and, on this path of growth. I mean, how do you decide what to invest in next, as far as, obviously you start taking on more jobs, like, so you have to hire staff, or you have to, upgrade your equipment or get a new truck. I mean, like,
Right.
what's your process for planning that out? Is it kind of whatever's just right in front of you that's next? Do you have kind of a timeline of things you need to establish first before you go a certain direction?
I don't really have a timeline. I've always been the type of person just to kind of, learn on the fly. Right now, my wife helps me with some of the office stuff because I'm used to writing everything down on, all my work orders are handwritten. I ordered them from Staples, I think, and they have the logo and everything on them, and I handwrite all my work orders out. I do all my own Facebook stuff, put all my pictures on, stuff like that. I really don't have a website yet. We're working on putting one up. But as far as potentially hiring someone else, that's going to be a huge step, because again, anybody that's just starting out in a business, now you have to work. Like, I have 4 children and, a wife here that I have to worry about. We have, our normal daily things that have to be taken care of. So it's a big step to step out and hire somebody, put money out for another truck, put another crew on the road. But I mean, it's looking like that needs to happen. So I'm kind of coming to terms with it. It's going to have to just take place, and I'll just push myself even harder to get out there and do some more bidding and see where it goes from there.
Have you hit a point so far? I mean, it sounds like you're doing great with bringing on the work and everything. Have you hit a point where it's kind of like justifying everything in your mind, like, all right, yeah, I made the right decision, like I got this, and this is something I can handle? Or is it still kind of like, no, if we're like, all right, I can't take my foot off the gas quite yet, and
Yeah,
get
no,
into a maintenance mode?
yeah, no, I'm not fully prepared to take my foot off the gas yet. I mean, it again, it's a big step. We're going to see what happens. I'm so used to, at this point, the guys that work with me, they know how I work, and it's seamless when we get on a job together. Everybody just knows their flow because I've worked with them. I've trained them on how I like to have things done. So it's just, yeah, I'm not fully prepared to take my foot off the gas yet, but we're going to see what happens. I'm looking at a new truck right now. I actually was hoping to have gone and gotten it today, but the guy never ended up getting back to me. So we'll see what happens.
You mentioned your home base is Smyrna. What
Mm-hmm.
territory do you generally try to stick within, as far as proximity to Smyrna job wise?
Um, right. I don't mind focusing. Like I'll go all the way up to Wilmington. We've ventured down into Rehoboth, Fenwick area, and about that abroad. I'd like to try to stay in Delaware. I have had a few things that are in Maryland. I have done a couple of jobs for some family friends that were over in Jersey. I don't mind the travel. I'm still trying to figure out, it's only me. So there's days where sometimes I have to go and pick up all the material from Baltimore. So I try and go do that early. That way I can turn around and come back and do a service or something like that, a couple of things. So I'm still trying to juggle all that right now. That's why I'm kind of hoping everything goes through for, hiring somebody else and putting another vehicle on the road. That way it can free me up to do the other things. But pretty much we're anywhere in Delaware, some Maryland, some New Jersey. I don't think I'll venture into Pennsylvania unless something comes up, and if that's the case, then we'll go.
And as far as the specifics of running a company, building things up, is there anything that you're using to educate yourself? Other, I know you said you like to learn hands-on on the fly. I mean, are there any resources that you're utilizing to learn more specifics about the operational side of businesses? And
Yeah, it will. And of course, when you work for somebody, you never really see what's going on in the background. So I am now, I know there's a couple of licensed dealers in the state of Delaware that sell AMR and LiftMaster, which is what I sell. However, I've, had to learn that whole aspect of the business, bidding, your percentages, adding tax, because if I go and pick everything up, I have to pay their sales tax. But if they deliver it, I don't pay sales tax. I have to pay a shipping charge. Like, it's a whole lot of stuff to learn. It's kind of rude when you're not used to any of that. You're used to just throwing doors on the truck and going and doing the job. But
sure.
and I'm getting there with it. I mean, I like I said, I've had to learn on the fly. Like, it was kind of a let's get this going type of deal. I sent an email one day to AMR, and within a week I had already met with both of the reps. They had set up my accounts and turned me into a dealer. So at one time I was buying doors, from another company so that I could install them. So it was kind of cutting into the profit margin pretty good. You never really know how much money you make, and especially if you have to put enough in it to cover up what they're charging you. But it's been real nice to be able to have that and learn that whole aspect of the business. It's definitely something neat.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, anytime you can cut out a middleman or something, just go direct. I mean, I imagine that's the best route to take.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking back, is there anything you've learned along the way, or some things that surprised you making the transition to the business owner from an employee that was more of a shock or surprise than you expected it to be?
Not really. Again, working for a couple of different companies, because I never strayed much. I worked for one company for almost 13 years, and I worked with another company for 3 years and another company for 2 years. So, um, what it basically come down to is you don't see how you're really valued. You know what I mean? In a company that was pretty big, they were, they got a lot to handle, and I get that. But I have, set in my mind, I wanted to be treated a certain way. I wanted to make a certain amount of money, and that's how I plan on, going forth. If I have to hire somebody, I'm not going to treat them the way that, I've been treated in the past dealing with the companies that I've dealt with. Not to say that they're bad or anything. Every company has its things that they have to deal with, and I understand that. Just a lot of what we do seems a little bit undervalued. Um, you know, it's just as a person who's been in the industry as long as I have, and of course, there's people that have been in it much longer than I have. You know, making making the change from one company to another, and knowing that or seeing that you really didn't get treated, or you didn't get the knowledge that you needed to have. I mean, again, it was kind of always a learn on the fly, and I'm still learning every single day. So it's just something that I don't know. I just just hope everything goes the way that I plan on it going.
Sure. When you go out and now that you're going from just strictly the technical side of installing a door and you're having to, meet with the customer and bid and stuff, is that something that you've had to develop as like almost like a sales mentality of, along with putting in a bid, you have to kind of, put your own spin on it and help to close the deals, I imagine too.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. I've always told everybody I could probably sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in a white dress. Um, I've been I've been pretty fortunate. I've got a lot of customer service in the last 18 years. I mean, you kind of have to. You deal with the customer from the time you step into their home, to get to the garage until the time they sign the ticket. Um, I have no problem interacting with pretty much anyone. I guess maybe that's my downfall. And Delaware is pretty small, so I can pretty much walk into anywhere and know somebody. my
Yeah.
my wife hates it because normally if we go somewhere for 20 minutes, it takes about an hour. So, but yeah, it's definitely, you have to learn a totally different aspect. Normally people would just you go out to service the door and you tell them, okay, hey, listen, the door is unserviceable. I really can't do anything with this. It's unsafe. And you kind of leave the ball in their court, and they say, okay, what's it going to cost me? That's kind of how I always had everything. Now I have, the manager side and the salesman side where I do have to totally disconnect from, the technical side of it, because they're calling, they want a price, and it's not only going to be me or, whoever else here in the near future going out. I need to, make the customer feel comfortable, well enough that we get the job. So you do have to put your own spin on it. And I probably spend a little bit more time with the customer than most people do. And there are companies out there that, spend time. You got to give the customer what they want.
Sure. Now, with Delaware being so small and you said you know a lot of people, have you looked into any sort of networking resources? Do you look into joining any local chambers of commerce or anything like that? Or what's your marketing and networking side looking like?
Funny enough, just up until this point, most of my networking has been just the people that I've met over the years. The Facebook business account, my name. I have looked into. I was actually sitting down looking today as becoming a part of Middletown Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
So I did look into that today. We're probably going to go ahead and do that this week. Again, I've never really been a part of that, so it's just something to learn. I'm so used to, again, I post pictures of pretty much all the jobs that I do, back them with what we've done. And most people, I do a lot of, when I go to the job, or I call or text, I try to text people to let them know, that way I have, anything in writing more or less, just in case. But I always text somebody, let them know, I'm coming. And a lot of times they'll write me a review, or they'll send me something on through a text message. Hey, thank you very much. You were great. I plan on getting on, MOT residents, Smyrna Clayton residents, putting a post out for you. And that's been wildly helpful.
Awesome. What advice would you give anyone that's listening that's on the fence? They have a skill or they're working for other companies that they've thought about venturing out on their own. Anything you would pass along and advise them on?
It took me a long time to have somebody finally push me into doing it. It is something that I've wanted to do for years. If you got a dream, just go for it. The worst that can happen is it fails, and you go back to working for somebody. The best that can happen is it grows and it's uncontrollable. That's kind of where we're at right now. It's actually been kind of amazing. Again, I've always been used to doing it on the side, and to just see how it actually has had the opportunity in the last year to blossom has just been awesome.
Awesome. Well, hopefully we can use this platform to boost it even more for you. I'll put up some links, like you said, for the Facebook page and everything, but what's the best way for people to get information and to reach out to you and to schedule some of your time for you to stop by and take a look at what they need?
They can reach out to me on the Facebook platform. It's Hometown Doors. They can pick up the phone and call me 302-382-3189. That's my personal and my business phone. I answer it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If they shoot me an email, it's hometowndoors19977@gmail.com. And hopefully we have a website up here soon, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. I'm just trying to figure out how to compile things the way I want them. And we'll have one more area where they can reach out to us.
Awesome. Well, we'll definitely have to have you back on in the future, check back in and see where your growth is taking you. And, it's exciting to see. And, I'm very happy to hear that things are going your way and, wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Thanks for putting me out here.
Yeah, man. We'll check back in later. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a great evening. Good weekend.
You too.
Thank you.